Hey guys.
Hey guys, my name is David.
And I'm Tiara.
And this is
Keeping Up with the Matics.
We hope you enjoy this video you're about to watch. It's a pretty interesting story that we got, so we hope you love it.
Yeah, we've been meaning to film and how we met video for a while, probably like 2 years now, just because people have been begging and asking for it, and we haven't really got around to it because life has been crazy, just with getting engaged, married, me getting promoted, us moving in, him finishing school, and life has been very busy, but we finally found time, so we hope that you enjoy this video. Bye guys.
See you guys. Hello people of YouTube.
Hey guys.
This is my wife, Tiara, and my name is David. This video is mainly made for the people that have been asking us how we met, and those people are mainly our close friends and family. Yeah,
because we've been getting a lot of questions from family and friends, but even just like through passing, people sometimes will stop us and ask how we met, and we'll explain it. But we've actually been meaning to make this video for quite a while, but we both have very busy lives. So we've kind of been at a halt and a standstill when it comes to filming, but we had time today, so we're like, you know what, we're going to sit down and film it for everybody.
Yeah.
You want to start, babe?
Sure. So I'll start on my side. So at the time, around last year, or maybe almost 2 years ago, I was kind of crashing out a little bit. Like, I had kind of gone through a breakup, and then I kind of healed through that. And then around that time, like in the summertime, I was seeing somebody before her at the time, but then the more I started hanging out with them and being with them, I was like, you know, things just weren't aligning with us as far as like morals and certain views that we have. So I had to, you know, it was very painful to kind of cut that person off, just because obviously they really liked me, but I still didn't exactly feel like I really liked them. I didn't want to force myself to like this person, so I had cut that off. So then I started coming back to church over in a Motion Church. So that was really fun, and I started going back to the young adult service because I was going there prior, before meeting her. I started going there from like 2017, 2018, 2019, and COVID hit. Couldn't really go back to church, so that's when I had swayed it away. But then, you know, obviously I came back to it, like I said. So from there, I was going there for about a few months already, like after summer was done. And I remember there was a guest pastor that came. His name is Jeff Thorpe.
I remember that day. That was a good service.
Yeah, very good. A very, very good service. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a pastor over in Seattle.
You guys should look him up.
Yep.
He's amazing.
So we are in the Pacific Northwest area. Won't exactly say where we are, but we are in the Pacific Northwest area. But if you know, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, then I actually had met her sister at first, and just so you all know, she's a triplet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was something I was like, whoa, what the heck? She's a triplet. So I met her sister at first, and then we were just kind of talking, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I never had, you know, someone like approach me, because I was kind of more quiet to myself in church.
I did notice that. You were more on the shyer side.
Yeah, I was. So after that, me and her, we were just chopping it up, just about kind of how the service went. And then her and her other sister, they came up, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, there's triplets? So that's what I mean when I said, like, whoa, there's triplets. So, and then when I had met her, she describes it as I did like a up and down type of deal.
It was a particular way that you looked at me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, ooh, that was kind of hot.
Yeah.
Girls, if you know, you know.
Yeah. So
you know the look.
Oh yeah. So, you know, I did that. You know, I didn't personally think she noticed that, but you know, women notice that.
We do.
So
we're very observant.
Yeah. It took me a minute to kind of learn that, obviously. So So from then, I had told some friends like, yo, like these people came up to me, like they're pretty cool. And then I told, we had a mutual friend at the time saying, like, hey, they invited me out over to some like bowling over in Round 1, if you know where that's at. And then they told me like, oh, by the way, we had invited Tiara, or is it Tiara? Tiara. They got it confused, but I was saying like no, Tiara.
Yeah.
So, because after that, I was kind of finding out who they were. So yeah, I stalked her on Instagram basically. So kind of, I know it's weird to say that, but like that's just the honest to God truth. Like that's really what I did. So from there, I was like, okay, I kind of have a feeling of like kind of who they were and who she was. I was like, oh wow, like, you know, because a lot of girls' content or whatever on their feed, on their Instagram, like sometimes it's very like, you know, a little bit derogatory, or they say they're Christian, but then it's like kind of the other way around. But with her,
their Instagrams and their social media doesn't really reflect that.
Yeah, so, but her on the other hand, it was completely different. Like it really was very clean, and that stood out to me the most. So, and you know, if you know me, like I work out a lot, so I obviously knew she worked out already. So I was like, oh, okay, so she works out. And so when our friends had invited me over and they told me about this, you know, I didn't really think about it much. Like I didn't think it was they were trying to set me up. I didn't see it that way at first.
And you'll get to it once like I tell my side of things, because it's the same but just a little different. You guys will see.
Yeah, so, you know, I've been telling myself, like, oh man, like, they're pretty cool, because I started seeing them more at young adults, and our mutual friend at the time tagged me in their Instagram story. So, at this time, I had already, like, kind of seen her at church, but I didn't really, like, talk to her, because, you know, I'm a shy dude. So, when she had followed me, I was like, holy crap, like, this is for real.
Well, you tried talking to me, I think, like twice in between that.
Mm-hmm.
But it really wasn't like a whole lot. Like you would say hello, and I would say hi, and there would be some times where I said hi first, and you would just like wave back and try to make a conversation. Mm-hmm. But then somehow, some way, I'd always get looped away. But I'll tell you guys more of that when it comes to my turn. But go ahead and finish, babe. Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, you're good. So, yeah, so she followed me, and I was like, holy crap, like, yo, she followed me. So I literally paced, so obviously I followed back, right? And then I paced for like an hour or so, thinking like, man, should I DM her or should I say something to her, like at church? But knowing me, like, I just DM'd her, because I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say anything. I was a big chicken.
You're so scared.
So, and there was one time, like, we went to service, a Sunday service, and then one of our friends named Peyton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask her for her number.
Well, cause it was the like Motion Interns Weekend or something, SCU weekend.
Yeah.
And every time they do like SCU weekend or Motion Intern weekends, they always like have like a little booth outside in the foyer area. So for anybody whose child or kid is interested in going to the college that our church has, they do like an SCU weekend. And they have a booth, and they talk to you about the college and all the things they have to offer. And so they were going around talking about that to all the young people and all the young adults. So that's how Peyton got involved. But yeah.
So SCU is Southeastern University, for you guys who don't know. Mm-hmm. Our church is affiliated with Southeastern University, so you do college classes there while doing full-time ministry.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I was gonna ask for her number, but then our good friend Payne, I love this dude, but I was so upset when he said, hey, are you like interested in doing like, I'm like, bro, do you not see what's like happening right now? I'm trying to get this girl's number.
Mad. I could tell. I was like, dang.
And then, you know, after that, we were just like, I asked him like, oh, what are you guys gonna do? And I think you guys went to your grandma's place, right?
Oh yeah, we did, because we had Sunday dinners over there.
Yeah, so they went over to the grandma's place. I was kind of salty, because I was like, bro, that was my one time. So I was like upset, but I wasn't upset because it worked out for the better. So that was actually kind of before I think we followed each other. I remember.
Yeah, that was before we followed each other, because that was about 2 weekends before all this happened. Do you want me to tell my side, Dave, or are you done?
I'm almost done.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry to keep it so long. My bad. But yeah, so I followed her. Eventually, I DM'd her and I said, "Hey, you know, I didn't know you like followed me like crazy, right?" And then I seen her at service, and you know, I already know the type of person she was, but I acted kind of dumb because she would tell me like, "Oh man, I'm tired." Like, I'm like, "Really? Why are you tired?" I'm like, "Oh, I just woke up for this because I'm doing She was doing a bodybuilding competition at the time, and she's like, "Yeah, I work out at this," and I'm like, "Oh, really? Where do you work out?" Even though I already knew.
He's so slick.
Yeah, I was kind of slick with it, not gonna lie.
Oh
so she told me, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy," right? But then I know this is gonna be creepy for some of y'all, okay?
I didn't think it was creepy. I thought it was hot. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
but hear me out though. So, because it worked. So eventually, I started coming to work, obviously like working out and stuff. I almost quit because there was this dude I thought that was into her, but really though,
oh my God,
he wasn't.
Jay.
Yeah.
No, Jay's awesome.
It wasn't like that. It really wasn't like that. He was just a friend.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that.
Yeah.
So after that, DM'd her, went on our dates, and then after we went on our first date, that's when I told like, "Hey, like, you know, I already kind of knew about you. Like, this is what happened."
Yeah, he told me everything.
So.
Which I'll tell you guys my side.
So now I'll let her tell her side.
Okay, so fast forwarding to that. So how it started for me, like how I came to Motion, was me and my sisters belonged to another church. And one of our really good friends that we grew up with at our home church moved to this other church called Motion like a few years before me and my sisters moved over there. And throughout the years, he had always been like trying to get us to come, trying to get me and my sisters to check out that church just because they have a really huge young adults and youth program. So we finally was like, you know what, we'll check it out, because it was during COVID and our church kind of shut everything down that they had for like the youth and young adults. They kind of shut all that down, and me and my sisters were just really craving a young adults community, just because our other church that we grew up in has a lot of elder people. Yeah. And so they kind of tightened up the rings on, you know, what they were going to have and what they weren't going to have due to COVID, which makes sense if you have a church that's full of seniors and not a lot of young people. It was just the best decision at that time. But me and my sisters were really looking for a young adult program, just because our church no longer had that. And so we contacted our good friend Jeremiah. Hey, Jer.
Hi, Jer.
We love him. We contacted him and asked when the services were, and we started coming. And then me and my sisters kind of all sat down and talked about, you know, the process of maybe thinking about switching over to Motion, just because we fell in love with the church. We fell in love with the young adults program and Pastor Phil. Hey, Phil.
At the time, he was the young.
Yes, at the time he was the young adults pastor.
We love you, Phil.
We do. We love you. And like literally, he's the reason why me and my sisters moved over to that church, is because he just reminded us of our home church and our pastors at our home church. Like he just reminded us of that, and we were really just craving that kind of community, just a young adults community, people our own age that we could relate to and be around. We were really craving that and looking for that, and that church offered that. So me and my sisters finally made the transition in March. We moved over there, and this wasn't until about like the end of November going into December. I had seen, my sister was talking to him by his car after a young adult service. I had been looking for her. I was like, where'd Tiana go? And I couldn't find her, so I called her. She was like, oh, I'm over here talking to David. I'm like, who? And then she's like, look out by the parking lot. And I seen her wave. I was like, oh, okay. So then me and Tamara went over there, and she was talking to him. And in my head, I'm like, he's so cute. Who is this? And then he had this cute and nice little sports car. It was, what is it, like the Subaru bag?
Yeah, it was a 04 Subaru WRX.
Yeah, and it was like electric cobalt blue, and it was really nice. Just because he's into cars, he's a car guy, and his car was really nice. And I noticed that. I was like, ooh, he got a nice car. That's dope. And I'm not a car person at all, but I did think his car was dope. And then my sister was talking to him, and then my sister introduced us, and then like he gave me like this look, and I was like, that was so hot. And he like up and down. He was like, what's your name? I was like, wait a minute, okay. Like, he's cute. And so then I introduced myself, my sisters introduced themselves, and then we all left. And like as we're walking away, me and my sisters, we all said at the same time, if you're a twin or a multiple, then you know you have this telepathy thing. Like we all three said at the same time, we're like, he's kind of fine. And then we all started laughing because we all said the exact same thing at the same time because we were all thinking it, but we all said it at the same time. We often do that. And then I didn't think nothing else of it at the time after I left. I was kind of dealing with somebody at the time, but honestly that was going nowhere, and I knew it was going nowhere. Fast forward to like, I want to say 2 weeks later, babe? It was about 2 weeks later, because it was like the beginning or the middle of December, because December had just started.
Yeah, it was like 2 to 3 weeks.
I think it was like 2 weeks into December. I had got a message from our friend Priscilla, and she was asking me to come out bowling with her, who was now her husband, Jose, and David. Yeah. And I was like, who's David? That's like the second time I heard this name. I'm like, who is that? And then I told her, I'm like, hey, I can't make it. I'm unfortunately already home, but I'll hang out with you guys next time. And she's like, oh, okay, girl. And so I was just on Instagram in my room scrolling. You know how you do. You're on Instagram, you're just on your phone. So I was scrolling on Instagram looking at stories, and I came across hers, and I seen like a picture of David. I was like, oh, I know who that is. I see him all the time in the adult service in my gym. Yeah. And so I just clicked on the photo, and I added him on Instagram, and then I just put my phone down and went to bed. The next morning, I wake up and I have a message from him saying, hey, Tiara, how are you doing? I see you at church and gym all the time. How are you? And I was like, oh, hey, David, I'm doing well. How are you? He's like, I'm good. Just woke up. I'm like, yeah, same. Me too. And I think I was like on my way to work or something like that. I can't remember what I was doing. And then he was like, into the conversation, he was just like, hey, if you're free, I would love to take you either to lunch or out for coffee or for dinner sometime and get to know you and get to know what your story is. And I was like, wow, okay. I was like, wow, that was really cool. I'm like, yeah, I would love that. Like I said, I just had got done dealing with somebody, and I wasn't really like closed off to dating, but like I had just got done dealing with somebody. I really wasn't thinking much of it. And to be honest, like 2 weeks prior to that, like because who I was dealing with and the frustration behind that, like I had literally prayed to God. I was like, man, God, I really want this in a husband. I really want this in a man. And like the next guy that I get with, I want him to be intentional. I want him to do X, Y, and Z. Like I want him to seek me out. I don't want to have to do anything. Like I don't want to have to do not a thing. And literally, like, that's exactly what happened with this, like, with this relationship. That's exactly what happened, because I didn't even know who David was 4 months into us actually first time meeting, but he knew who I was, like, as you can tell.
And I'm the shy one.
Yeah, he is, and he already knew who I was. Everybody knew he liked me. I'm like, what? And so, fast forward, like, that whole week, we had been talking, and then our young adult service had their Christmas service.
Yep.
Oh, and they do it every year. And so, he texted me, he was like, hey, do you want to sit by me at the Christmas service? Are you going? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be there. I was like, I might be a little late because I'm getting off work. Because, excuse me, I work at a gym. Yeah. Fitness Quest in our area. Hey, I work there. And I told him like, hey, I'm going to be getting off work a little late. Can you save me a spot? And he was like, oh yeah, no doubt, I'll do that. And so we have been texting all day that whole week, and leading up to that day, we have been texting all day, every day. Up until then, and I text him like, hey, I just got off. I'm coming up now, driving up there now, because the church is like right up the street from my job. Yeah. And so I had got there. I texted him. He came out and got me, and he walked me to where he was sitting. And I kid you not, when we literally sat down, tell me why like all our guy friends and our girlfriends turned behind and seen that we were sitting together, and everybody was like, what?
Man, I didn't even know this, but even our pastor, he was preaching that night.
And he's seen
that. Me, on the other hand, you know, Phil, I love you, dog. Like, I know you know this, so I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're good, but
I was listening, but at the same time, I wasn't, because I'm trying to get to know this.
Oh my gosh.
This fine little thing, you know what I'm saying?
Gosh,
so
crazy.
So, yeah, sorry, continue.
Oh, you're good. But literally, I kid you not, when we sat down, all his guy friends, all my girls, they all turned around and was like, ooh. Like everybody was making faces and like being so cute about it, but kind of annoying, but it was funny. And then my sisters and like one of our best friends was like sitting in the same row but on the other side, and they were like, what? Okay.
Yeah. I noticed that too because I looked that way.
Everybody,
so
and then
I was like, "Oh shoot!" I'm like, "They're looking at us." I don't
was
know why,
laughing.
but okay.
I was like, "Oh my god, here we go!" And then literally, like, fast forward to that, we had our first date that weekend, and he took me out to pho, and then we went to our Saturday service because they have Saturday service.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then directly after, we went to what we call Black Bear. Black Bear frozen yogurt. I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
Like, it was in the Tacoma area.
Yep.
When we went there, we literally shut the place down because we were just sitting there talking, and that's when like he laid out everything. I was like, whoa. And I'm like, wow, this is legit an answer prayer. I'm like, it's so funny how fast God works, because it's like I always thought I was gonna be the last person to get married because it just seemed like I was just meeting the wrong guys, or should I say the same guy in a different body, but. David was completely different because he, first of all, he took the time to actually learn about me before he even met me. That's number one. Yeah. And he also like tried to pursue me before he even like asked me out, and I didn't even know that that's what he was doing. And then, and you think you slick, he literally switched from the Auburn Fitness Quest all the way to the Puyallup Fitness Quest because he found out that that's where I worked, and he's like, "Nah, I'm trying to see my girl. She's gonna be my wife." Like, nah, ain't nobody finna get her.
When I was working out, I would come in a little early.
Yeah, because he knew what
because
time.
I kind of had a sense what time she came in. So when
sweet.
I'm working on this machine on the back.
Oh, it's the lat pull down, babe.
Yeah, so it's the lat pull down.
Yeah.
And then facing the lat pull down is the mirror, so I can see when she's coming. I know, kind of smart, right?
Oh my god.
But yo, that's what I did though. So when I see her, there was one time, you know, I was working out. I pretended like I didn't see her, but I obviously did though. So she's working on the cables because the lat pull down is right next to the cables. Like it's one of those type machines. Like if you know, you just know. But I acted like I didn't see her, but like I could see her in the peripheral. So I'm acting like, yeah, I'm getting my work done.
He thinks he's so smooth.
And then she came up to me. She's like, "Oh hey," like I'm like, "Oh yo, what's up?" Even though
I always like anytime I see him, I would always go up to him and give him a hug and say hi and chop it up a little bit. And because it was him and like another group of guys that would always come in our gym like in the mornings or the afternoons.
Yep.
And he works in the hospital, so he always has to like work out and then go to work after that.
Yep.
So he would always get his workouts in the mornings. Now I know that, but I would always see him in the mornings amongst like other guys from our church that he was cool with. And so I would always go up to them, say, "Hey guys, what's up?" Talk to everybody. But I would always go up to him, give him a hug, say hello. How you doing? And I could always like sense like he was a little quiet and a little shy. I don't know, he just always seemed kind of nervous around me, and I'm like, what? I feel like he liked me, but I'm not sure. And I didn't really tell nobody at the time, because at the time, I was still kind of dealing with somebody, and I wasn't really sure. And this person I was dealing with, I say dealing with because we weren't dating. Like, the guy never took me on a date. He barely, did anything to, like, secure an actual place in my life. It was just somebody that I was talking to and that I was somewhat interested in, but, like, it wasn't going anywhere. So I had cut that off. Yep. And I would see him, I'm like, man, I low-key feel like he liked me, but I'm not sure. And I didn't tell nobody because at the time, like, I had just started my personal training career, and I had just started my bodybuilding career. So I was like, I don't know. I feel like he liked me, but I'm not going to really do nothing because I'm like, I already told God, like, I'm not pursuing no guy. I'm not going after nobody. If they want me, they're going to have to come after me. Yep. Because for the last, 7 years, it was all me doing all the work. I'm like, I'm just not doing that. And honestly, that's not biblical. Like, it says he that findeth a wife. Like, the Bible says he, not she. So I'm not doing nothing. If a man want me, he going to have to pursue me, period. But I'm over here focused on my relationship with God, my personal training career, and my bodybuilding career, and that's what I'm doing, period. Now, if you want to get to know me, great. But you're going to be doing most of the work. I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to be over here. So that was my mindset behind it. But I was pretty open. Like, I would say our first date, like, when I was talking to him and stuff, like, I told God, I had prayed before I went on it too, because I was like, I'm nervous, low-key.
Me too. I was too.
I prayed about, I'm like, God, if this is who you have for me, I'm not gonna do anything to, give any inklings that I'm gonna try and make this happen. Like, I want it to just be natural. Let this be a good date. Yeah. And it really was. It was just so easy going, and I like then my nerves just calmed down because I think everybody gets nervous on a first date. But like this one, like my nerves were really calmed down. And I like once I got in the car and we started talking, I was like, you know what? This is going to be a great one. I can tell.
Yeah.
And he was just so genuine about everything. And that's what I really loved. Like, I loved how he pursued me. I loved how genuine he was. And I loved, like the story, like, of what he went through to get to me. I was like, that's actually really beautiful and, like, very romantic. Because I had never had a guy, like, pursue me like that. Like, it was just so different. It was everything that I prayed about and asked for. But I just thought it was going to happen, like, later on. I didn't know that it was going to be, like, 2 weeks after I prayed that prayer. I was like, dang. And I know that when most people like listen to YouTubers or people on YouTube and online and they're Christian and they talk about how they met their husband, that seems to be like the theme, but it's the truth. Like when you ask God for something, he will deliver.
Yeah.
Like try God if you want to, because it works every time. I'm just being honest. God has not failed me yet, and he's not going to, because it's God.
You just gotta let him do what he does. Don't force
you just
it.
gotta focus on yourself, focus on your relationship with God, get into your calling, throw yourself into that, and the person that you're meant to be with and that God has for you will be right there. And then you'll mess around and you'll look up and he or she will just be right there. You'll be like, whoa, where'd she come from? Or whoa, where'd he come from? I didn't even know. And that's like what happened with us.
Yeah.
Like I was just really focused at that point, and I really didn't see him coming. Like I really didn't. Like I just thought like he liked me as a friend, because he was very shy. Like it was hard for me to tell that he liked me, to be honest, but I could kind of feel like he did. But I'm like, I don't want to get too caught up in my head about it and psych myself out and build up this big story in my head when it might not even be that, right? So.
And that only came just because, you know, I was a very like self-conscious person. I still am like that, but I wouldn't say I'm like really like that anymore.
Right.
Like since being with her, obviously I've gained a lot of the confidence that I have now. And on top of like having kind of the church and being around the church we're in, and like it's really great and it's amazing. Like the community was really great. You know, her praying on that, like I really prayed on that too, because I was like, I said, God, I do like this person, but I'm like, do you think personally like this person might be like a good woman fit for me? Because after my past, we'll talk about that later in another time. But
yeah,
just from the past and how I was, and for me, it felt like, well, I was like, let's just keep pushing and find out. I mean, you know, because God works in mysterious ways. So I was like, for me, it felt like, trust me, my son, you got to do it. Like, watch this happen. Like, I'm gonna make this work. So I was like, okay, like I try not to have doubt, but I was like, all right, fine, like I'll trust you on this one, for real.
Yeah,
so
and for me, like I went into that date, like I told myself, like we're not gonna have any expectations.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go into this date, have a great time, and see what happens. Because to be honest, David is not my usual type. I usually like tall guys, like super built and just buff, and you know, light skin with hazel eyes. Like that was my typical type. I'm gonna be honest, but I'm gonna be real. My typical type was hurting me.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just getting to dead ends, and it just never went anywhere. And it was just like I kept getting hurt, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm like so sick of this. Like I'm tired of that. I'm just gonna date out of my typical type and see what happens. And even though David wasn't my type, like don't get me wrong, my man is fine. Okay, I think he's hot, as I should, because he's my husband. But he's just not what I typically go for, and I'm not his typical type.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that's a beautiful thing, because it just goes to show like opposites attracting. It does work, and even though we're not each other's types, like our values and our morals and our standards line up very well. Our families get along so great. Like just meshing our families together has been really beautiful, because it's like even though we're like a different race, different cultures, different background, different everything, like one thing that we can agree on is that we both love the Lord. We both have a relationship with God, and that has been like the constant foundation for our relationship.
Yep.
And like what we built our relationship on, and just who we are as people. All right, guys, so we hope you enjoyed this video. That's the story of how we met.
So like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope you stick around to see more talks of us, and hopefully, you know, you get inspired and you found this entertaining.
Yep, and we'll probably try to put a video out every Sunday, just to kind of keep you guys updated, and always try and put out some content. So we'll probably do something every Sunday. We might try and like go live on some of our social media, or if there's certain things or segments you guys want us to talk about, you can put it in the comments. Let us know, because we're open to suggestions.
Yep.
We'd love to do that for you guys. But all right, guys, take care. Have a great Sunday. Bye.
See you later.